Hi, I'm Louis and welcome. This is the Fool's Universe. Today I'm going to be talking about sigils. I'm going to explain what a sigil is, the difference between a symbol and a sigil, and I'll show you how you can create your own and how you can apply that sigil. So what is a sigil? A sigil is pretty much a symbol that is used to focus an energy for a specific intent. And if you look up the definition, then it'll explain that a sigil is a type of symbol used for a desired outcome and usually refers to a type of pictorial signature used for a practitioner's desired outcome. And quite often the term magic is used when explaining what a sigil is. Personally, I prefer to focus on the idea of intent, focusing on specific intent to generate energy for an outcome. And I quite often refer to the term intent when I'm talking about my practices. And sigils are a great way to focus your intent on something quite specific. So what's the difference between a sigil and a symbol? A symbol is generally a form of communication through visual representation, and it's quite often recognized instantly when you see it. And a sigil is that symbol, and it's used as a way to hone in on that specific intent for a specific outcome. I'm going to give you an example. If you came across an X, let's say, depending on where you saw that X, the symbolism would change. An X on a map, let's say, would specify something in particular. It would focus on a place on the map, hence the saying X marks the spot. But if you came across an X on a test paper, it would mean you got something wrong. So you've got the same symbol, but the meaning varies depending on the context it's used in. If I was to use an X as a sigil, then what I would do is I would look at the structure of that symbol and I would work out what and how it translates and how you could use it to focus on a specific intent. An X is pretty much two lines which cross over and they meet at a specific point. So if I was going to use it as a sigil, I would use and visualize an X to focus on a specific point. This is all going to make a lot more sense when we go through how to create your own sigil. So we're going to do that now. I'm going to show you two really simple techniques to help you design your own sigils. I'll show you some that I've created, and yeah, we'll change the angle so you can see how I do it, and yeah, we might as well get straight into it. Here are just a few of the sigils that I've already created, and I'll just go through a few as an example of what they represent and how I might use them. So we'll start off with this one here. So this sigil is all about open communication. I have a triangle. Triangle has three sides, and 3 in tarot represents open communication. I also included a circle with it, which this triangle fits perfectly inside of, and the reason I've included that because quite often a circle represents the spirit or a complete cycle. So having the triangle in the circle, I can visualize the triangle as a symbol of communication and the spiral as being open and this perfect cycle. If I am feeling like I'm having trouble communicating with someone, this is what I would do, whether I'm meditating or if I'm creating a spell bag. So that's one of the sigils. And the last example I will use is this one here. So I created this sigil as a form of assisting with a challenge. It's basically a maze, and in the center of the maze is what is desired, and the circle once again represents the spirit or the soul, and the maze symbolizes working through a challenge to get to a desired outcome. I've created a square for this maze, and the reason I've done that is because a square has 4 sides. In tarot, it represents stability and security, and it's quite a solid structure as well. So if I felt like I had something that I was struggling with, then I can visualize this sigil and hopefully it would help me get past that challenge. And there's a few others there. This one is about repelling. This one is about the elements, so if I feel like I'm unbalanced in some kind of form of either the elements, whether it's air, water, fire, earth, and the spirit, I can visualize this sigil, and that way I can work out some kind of harmony with a balanced outcome. Okay, so there's just a few that I've already created. Now I'm going to show you how you can go about creating your own, and I'm going to show you two different techniques. You've got symbolic sigils, you've got word sigils, and you can also do a mantra sigil as well, but I'm going to focus on a symbolic sigil, and then I will also show you a really quick, easy way to do a really basic word sigil. I was thinking about the idea of creating a sigil based on transformation or change. So I did a little bit of research. I looked at different things that represent change or transformation or metamorphosis, and I came across the information about a dragonfly, and I have an interest in dragonflies anyway. I looked at different designs and different images of a dragonfly, and I came across this stylized symbol or drawing of a dragonfly, and I quite like the idea of that as a part of a symbol. I also like the idea of moon, the changing cycles of the moon, and what they represent. So I thought dragonfly, full moon, that could work really well as symbolism for a sigil. So that's where I'm going to go with this one. So firstly, I'm going to draw the dragonfly. So really simplifying the dragonfly, I'm going to just break it down into lines or shapes. I'll go straight down, so this is the body and the head. Then I'll go nice all the way to the top, so probably about a quarter of the way up. And then I'm going to use a X. So they all represent a wing each. This is the body and the head of a dragonfly. And that is as simple as it can be if you wanted to. You could do a circle there, you could do a point there. It's up to you, but I quite like the simplicity of that. I know personally that that represents a dragonfly. So then I want to include a moon. Some people believe that sigils need to stay in a circle or a shape. I don't necessarily believe that. They say you keep it in a circle to contain its energy. I believe it's all about the energy that you put into the sigil. It's not how it's contained. So even though I quite often do put it in a shape, I'm not necessarily going to do it for this one. I'm actually just going to create a circle, and I'm going to have the top half of the dragonfly in a full moon. And I might even bring that all the way across so it reaches the ends. What I might even do is have a line at the bottom here. I might actually create two lines. One is a line for water, and I'll do another one just in front of it, a little bit longer, and that can represent earth. So now I've taken on the elements as well. I've included the elements. I have, so this is my sigil. I quite like that. And that I might even touch that line there. Breaking this symbol down as a sigil, I've used all of the elements. I have water, I have earth, I have air, which is the wings. I have fire, which can be the moon, because the moon reflects the light of the sun, and the sun is a ball of fire, so that makes sense. Fire. Or the circle can represent spirit as well. So I've got spirit as well. So that works quite nice as a sigil. So now if I wanted to focus on my own transformation or me developing or moving from one stage to another, then I'll visualize that as a sigil to hone my energy into that. So this is about transformation and change. Okay. So this is a word sigil. So once again, I will look at transformation and I'll look at the idea of change. Now you can be specific in the phrase that you use to create a word sigil. I'm just going to focus on the one word transformation. So what I do is I would write down the word. Then what I will do is I'll get rid of the vowels. I'll keep an O because that way I can contain it with a circle. I've got one there, I don't really need that. I've got an N already. I've got a T already. So then I'll rewrite the letters that remain. All right, so now I'm looking at these letters. It's all a matter of me arranging these letters to create some kind of form. So I quite like the idea of a T to start off with. A T can be a capital T or a lowercase. I'll do a lowercase. The cross is always a strong symbol. Then we've got an R. So from the R, I might use this as the way to break it up. Then I want an N. So I might use this line here, that line there, and then another line here to go up and create that N. So I've got the N, an S. I quite like this bottom part for the S, but I might just attach the top bit. So I've got an S there. Then I have an F. So an F also can be an extension of the lowercase t. So I have an F there. And then an M. I might actually go in the opposite direction because I'm a little bit heavy on this side, so I'm looking at balance as well. M. And then an O. So I've got all of these letters. I do want to include the O, but what I might actually do is I might use the O in a similar way that I've used it for my symbolic sigil, and I might just use it in the top. So I might have this line coming all the way down and then just creating a circle where everything is contained within that circle. So there we go. I've now created a sigil based on the letters used in the word transformation, and that's how you might create a word sigil. So there's two different types of approaches to creating your own sigils, and they both could have the same meaning. So now we've created our sigils, all you need to do is visualize that sigil when you want to focus on something in particular. So you can do that a few different ways. One way you could do it is by meditating, and while you're meditating, visualize that sigil. Focus on what your intent is, and that way you're directing your energy and using a visual representation to hone in on that. Another way you could do it is by drawing that sigil over and over again and what you want to get out of it. So there's just a few examples there. That's pretty much it for the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. Feel free to subscribe. That way next time I do a video, you can automatically get a notification. And if you've got any comments, feel free to leave them down below and I will get back to you or create a video in response to your comments. Thank you so much. The next video I do, I'm going to revisit tarot. I'm going to go through some of the major arcana and show you the Celtic cross spread so you can develop your practices in tarot and reading. Once again, thank you, and please look after yourself and take care of others. See you next time.